Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
This time, we're heading back to the 12th century
The 12th century.
to explore the world of Herad of Landsberg
Oh, fascinating.
and her incredible manuscript, the Hortus Deliciarum. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, the Hortus Deliciarum. It's a treasure trove
It really is.
of medieval knowledge.
Yeah, it's like stepping into a time capsule
Why that?
and seeing how knowledge was visualized and organized back then.
It's amazing how much we can learn from these visuals.
And we're going to be focusing on
I can't wait.
one image in particular. It's
Yep.
called Philosophy and the Liberal Arts.
Ooh, that sounds right up our alley.
So this image, right, it's not just a pretty picture.
Oh, absolutely not.
It lays out a whole hierarchy of knowledge.
And they saw it in the 12th century, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like right in the center, you have philosophy personified as a queen,
Of course, a queen. Perfect.
and at her feet, Socrates and Plato,
The greats.
right, surrounded by the 7 liberal arts.
Like, literally surrounding her, as if in her court.
Yeah, so it really shows you like how important, right,
Oh, okay.
how central philosophy was to their whole world.
Your whole understanding of education, of knowledge itself.
Yeah. But what I find so cool is how each individual art
Right.
is depicted. Like they're not just names, they have these distinct personalities.
That's what makes it so engaging.
Like take dialectic, for example.
Oh, dialectic. She's holding that.
Barking dog's head.
Yes, the barking dog.
Not exactly what you'd expect for,
Not peaceful contemplation.
the art of logical argument.
Right.
You'd think it would be like,
More serene,
Yeah.
thoughtful, calm.
right. But this suggests that debate back then was, well,
A little more,
a little more lively.
Shall we say, combative.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine if like today's
I'll imagine.
like university debates involved literal barking?
Oh my goodness.
It's like, what were the stakes? Right.
Like, was it just about winning the argument? Was it about something deeper?
Yeah. Or was there a sense that like challenging ideas
Ooh.
could actually be dangerous?
Challenging the established order.
Yeah. And the inscription above dialectic, right? It says,
Oh, tell me.
like the barks of a dog, my arguments follow each other with speed.
Speed. So it's fast-paced,
Yeah.
lively.
Like rapid fire back and forth.
Wow.
So it's not just about the process of debate.
Right.
It's also about the potential consequences of challenging established ideas.
That's a great point.
So let's move on to another one. What about grammar?
Oh, yes. Grammar. The foundation of it all.
She's portrayed in red, right?
I love the colors in this manuscript.
With a white veil,
It's just-
and she's holding a rod in this jewel-encrusted book.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't mess around with grammar rules,
Clearly not. Precision was important.
And her inscription,
Yes.
it reads, "Through me, all can learn the meaning of words, syllables, and letters."
So, like, the building blocks of language.
Yeah, it's like that emphasis on clear communication, right?
Absolutely.
Built on this solid foundation of grammar.
It's essential for any kind of learning, really.
Yeah, without it, how can you even debate?
How can you explore ideas?
Right. Or,
Express yourself.
explore any other kind of knowledge.
It all starts with grammar.
All right. Let's move on to rhetoric.
The art of persuasion?
Yeah. It seems like she was the key to winning those arguments.
Oh, yeah. Even the ones with the barking, maybe.
Even with the barking, yeah.
She can handle it.
So rhetoric is shown with a stylus and wax tablets.
The tools of the trade
Yeah.
for a skilled orator.
And her inscription.
Yes. What does it say?
"Thanks to me, proud speaker, your speeches will move."
Move. Not just inform, but move.
Yeah.
Inspire.
It's highlighting the power of language, right?
That's what rhetoric is all about.
To not just like convey information, but to
persuade.
to inspire, to persuade.
To incite action.
Yeah. Powerful stuff.
Powerful stuff.
Okay, what about music?
Music.
Now, music was more than just entertainment back then, right?
Oh, absolutely. Much more.
It was considered a mathematical art.
A study of harmony, proportion.
And the image shows her,
Let me guess. With instruments.
playing cithara,
The sitar.
surrounded by all these other instruments.
Oh, I love that.
It's like this celebration of
Richness.
the richness and diversity of,
Musical expression.
musical expression.
It's beautiful.
And her inscription,
Tell me.
"I am music, and I teach my art with the help of various instruments."
It's not just about playing, is it?
No.
It's about understanding.
Yeah. It's about understanding the principles, the theories behind it.
Exactly.
So it's not just playing the right notes.
Right.
It's knowing why those notes.
It's the why behind the music.
Yeah. The math, the philosophy behind it. Okay, let's move on to arithmetic.
The master of numbers.
Yeah, the master of numbers. She's depicted counting on a knotted rope.
Knotted rope. Interesting.
It's such a simple image.
But it says so much.
Yeah, right. It says so much about, like...
Or how they worked with numbers.
Yeah.
Back then, before calculators, before computers.
Yeah, it's like...
It's very hands-on.
Very hands-on. Okay, and her inscription.
Okay.
It reads, I have faith in numbers, and I show how they are related to each other.
Faith in numbers, I love that.
It's like this inherent order, right?
Yes.
This logic within the numerical world.
It's all about patterns, relationships.
Yeah, that numbers reveal these patterns, these relationships that help us understand the universe.
The key to unlocking deeper truths.
Yeah, so it's not just abstract symbols, right?
No, not at all.
It's like...
They mean something.
Yeah, the key to
Secrets of the universe.
Deeper truths about the world.
Exactly.
All right, next up, geometry. Ready to measure the world with her.
Compass.
Yeah, compass and surveying rod.
Essential tools.
It's like she's ready to build a cathedral.
Or map out the stars.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
So practical.
Yeah. Her inscription is, with precision, I measure the earth.
Precision. That's the key.
Yeah. It's about those practical applications, right?
Absolutely.
It wasn't just theory back then.
It was essential.
Yeah, essential for architecture, navigation.
For understanding the physical world.
Yeah. And finally, we have astronomy.
Gazing at the stars.
Yeah, gazing up at the stars with a magnifying glass.
I love that detail. The magnifying glass.
It's like this beautiful image of
wonder.
Wonder and exploration.
Yeah, that sense of awe.
Always associated with astronomy. Okay, her inscription.
What does astronomy tell us?
I owe my name to the celestial bodies, and I predict the future.
Predict the future.
Yeah.
Astronomy was powerful.
It's like the highest, right?
The highest of the liberal arts.
Of the liberal arts.
Because it's about understanding our place.
In this vast cosmos.
Yeah, in the cosmos.
Daring to predict the future based on...
Based on the star.
The movements of celestial bodies.
That's amazing.
So we've got these 7 liberal arts.
Each one so unique.
Each with its own focus, its own symbolism.
Yeah.
But I'm also noticing how she grouped them.
Oh, tell me about that.
Into 2 distinct categories.
I knew there had to be more to it.
The trivium and the quadrivium. Have you heard of these?
Of course. The classic division. So, remind me, what's in the trivium again?
Okay, so the trivium includes grammar, rhetoric, and dialectic.
The language arts, the art of argument.
Yeah, those arts focused on language and argumentation.
Makes sense. So what about the quadrivium?
And then the quadrivium includes music, arithmetic, geometry, and astronomy.
Ooh, interesting.
It's like this progression, right?
Yeah.
From the fundamentals of communication to a deeper exploration of the mathematical and scientific...
The principles of the universe.
Principles governing the universe.
That's brilliant.
And it's not just random, right?
No, it's very deliberate.
This division reflects a hierarchical...
A hierarchical view.
View of knowledge.
Like a ladder, right?
Like a ladder of learning.
You start with the basics and you climb.
Where mastery of language and logic...
The foundation.
Yeah. It forms the foundation for exploring those more...
Abstract realms.
Yeah, more abstract realms of...
Numbers and the cosmos.
Numbers and the cosmos.
It's beautiful.
So it's not just a list of subjects, right?
Right.
It's this carefully structured...
System,
yeah.
A map.
A map for acquiring knowledge and ultimately...
Attaining wisdom.
Yeah, attaining wisdom.
With philosophy as the queen.
With philosophy as the queen.
At the top of the pyramid.
Right at the top. But speaking of maps, did you notice...
Ooh, tell me.
That there are these figures outside this carefully delineated circle.
The circle of knowledge.
Yeah, of knowledge.
So who are these outsiders?
Poets and magicians.
Poets and magicians.
They're just lurking on the periphery.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, why are they out there?
Yeah, are they excluded?
Yeah, like excluded from this realm of...
Of true knowledge.
Yeah, true knowledge.
That's what we need to find out.
We were just talking about those poets and magicians, remember?
Lurking outside the circle.
Yeah, like, why are they out there?
Well, it's not like Harry just ignored them. She actually labeled them pretty harshly, I might add.
Oh, really? How so?
She called them, get this, influenced by unclean spirits.
Unclean spirits.
Yeah, and accused them of writing lying fictions.
So she saw them as a real threat
Oh, definitely. She considered them dangerous, like they could lead people astray from,
From the true path.
yeah, the path of truth and wisdom, as she saw it.
So these poets and magicians are clearly not part of
The approved curriculum.
Right. But why were they seen as such a threat? Was it just the content of their stories? Or was there something deeper going on?
Well, remember, this is the 12th century, right?
Yeah, way back.
The church was, well, it was everything.
The dominant force.
Yeah, controlling not just spiritual matters, but education, like the flow of information.
It's hard to imagine that today.
Books were rare, literacy was limited, and much of what people knew came from religious teachings.
So in that context, someone like Herod, right, an abbess, responsible for educating her community.
She'd be extra cautious.
Yeah, about any alternative narratives, especially those coming from sources outside the church's authority.
Exactly. These poets, these magicians with their unclean spirits, they represented a challenge.
A challenge to that authority.
Yeah. They were offering different ways of knowing, different stories, potentially contradicting or undermining the church's teachings.
So it wasn't just about fake news, as we might think of it today.
It was much bigger than that.
It was about control, right?
Control of the narrative. Who decides what's true and what's dangerous?
And those lines were pretty blurry back then, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. The stakes were high. People genuinely believed in the power of words.
Like magic spells and stuff.
Exactly. Words themselves had power, like a magical power.
So the inscription, the one about lying fictions,
Yeah.
it suggests that Herod saw these poets, these magicians, as like intentionally crafting falsehoods.
They weren't just mistaken.
They were trying to mislead people.
In her view, yeah. And that fear of intentional deception, it makes sense, in that context.
The church had built its whole authority on this idea of truth, right?
Yeah, like they were the sole guardians of truth.
Yeah.
Divinely appointed.
So anyone offering a different interpretation.
A different story.
Was automatically suspect.
Especially if they claimed inspiration from, sources outside the
The
church.
sources they couldn't control.
Right. It's a clash,
Yeah.
between ways of knowing, different claims to authority.
So the liberal arts, as Herod presents them.
The safe path.
Yeah, the approved method of inquiry.
Stick to the curriculum.
But even with all that power, right, the church's power and influence, could they really control every story? I mean, people have always told stories, right?
Oh, of course. It's human nature.
Shared folk tales, whispered secrets.
Like a parallel system of knowledge, passed down through generations.
And it makes you wonder, did those unclean stories, did they persist in some form?
Oh, absolutely. Think of it as like blending Christian elements with older beliefs,
Pagan belief.
Yeah, pagan beliefs, folk traditions. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. So it's like this tension captured in that image. The liberal arts, the official sanctioned path, and then these poets and magicians.
Representing those alternative narratives.
Yeah, the ones that circulated in the shadows.
Always there, under the surface.
So this warning, Herod's warning about lying fictions, it wasn't just a one-time concern.
No, it goes deeper than that.
It speaks to this deeper anxiety, right, about the power of stories.
To shape beliefs, to challenge authority.
And it's a battle that's still going on today, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Think about all the debates we have now about misinformation, about propaganda.
Social media.
Yeah, social media. The tools have changed, but those underlying concerns.
They're still the same.
How do we know what's true? Who gets to decide what stories we believe?
So Herod, she might have been focused on poets and magicians, but her warning, it still resonates with us today.
In a world flooded with information.
It's like we need our own Hortus de Luciarum. Right?
Our own guide.
Yeah, our own guide to navigating this landscape of knowledge and storytelling.
Figuring out what's trustworthy, what's valuable.
And what might be leading us astray.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that takes more than just knowing the facts.
It's critical thinking, right?
Skepticism.
Yeah.
A willingness to question.
Question our own assumptions.
Our biases.
Yeah, our biases. It's like Herod is challenging us across the centuries to be active participants in this whole pursuit of knowledge.
Not just passive recipients.
Yeah. Not just taking in whatever stories come our way. What do you think?
I think that's a powerful way to put it. And it's a challenge that's, well, it's more relevant now than ever.
So we've spent all this time with Herod of Landsberg's Hortus de Luciarum.
And her warnings about lying fictions, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing how
timely they feel.
Yeah, like it's almost like she's warning us about
About misinformation.
Yeah, like centuries before the internet.
Way ahead of her time.
And it's not just about, like, falsehood spreading.
No, it's deeper than that, isn't it?
It's like she's really grappling with the nature of knowledge itself.
Yeah, like what makes a source valid?
Yeah. Who gets to decide what's true?
Those are big questions.
Huge questions. And she obviously saw the liberal arts as this path,
The path to true understanding.
Yeah. With philosophy at the top.
Reigning supreme.
But I keep thinking about those poets and magicians,
The ones outside the circle.
Yeah, like they represent this whole...
This other way of knowing.
Yeah, that she just like...
Rejected.
Yeah, she considered it dangerous.
Even subversive.
Yeah. And it's tempting to just be like, oh, well,
Product of her time.
Yeah, the church and all that.
But I think there's more to it.
What do you mean?
I think Herod was wrestling with this tension between reason and imagination.
No. Okay.
Like, on the one hand, you have that structured hierarchical knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Represented by the liberal arts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have this more intuitive...
Experiential.
Yeah. Often associated with,
Storytelling.
Yeah. Creative expression.
So it's not just about, like, facts versus fake news.
It's bigger than that.
It's about...
Different ways of knowing.
Different ways of making sense of the world.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Like the liberal arts, right?
Yeah.
They offer this very, systematic approach to understanding the universe.
Yeah.
But poets, storytellers...
They tap into something else.
Something deeper.
Yeah.
That resonates with us,
Emotionally.
Yeah. In
Right.
ways that, logic just can't.
It makes me think about, how we learn things today, right?
We're bombarded with information.
Yeah. Data, facts, figures.
But it's the stories.
It's the stories that stick with us.
They shape our beliefs.
Totally.
They move us to action.
It's like, think about how we learn history, right?
Oh.
It's not just...
Dates and names.
Yeah. It's the stories of people
The narrative.
that make it,
Come alive.
Yeah. It's like those human connections.
That's what makes it meaningful.
So maybe Harad,
Yeah.
maybe she wasn't saying that all stories are bad.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe it was more about...
Discernment.
Yeah. Being careful, recognizing that stories can be powerful.
But also misleading.
Right. Like they can have agendas.
Biases.
Yeah.
Interpretations that might not,
Align with our own.
Exactly. It's not about rejecting stories. It's about...
Approaching them with a critical eye.
Yeah. Being aware of the context.
It's like we need...
Narrative literacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Narrative literacy.
Being able to, decode those messages.
Yeah.
To understand, where they're coming from.
And to evaluate,
Their credibility.
Yeah.
Their intention.
And that takes work, right?
It does.
It's not passive.
No, we have to be active.
We have to be active participants.
In the storytelling process.
And not just... Yeah.
Consuming whatever comes our way.
Yeah.
It's about asking questions.
Challenging assumptions.
Considering multiple perspectives.
Recognizing that knowledge...
It's not static.
It's dynamic.
It's a process.
Of inquiry, interpretation.
Constant reevaluation.
And that process requires us to,
Embrace both sides.
Yeah. Reason and imagination.
Finding that balance.
To recognize that truth is often somewhere in between.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
I've loved it.
Into Herod of Landsberg's Hortus Deliciarum.
What a journey.
We've, explored all this symbolism.
The liberal arts, the anxieties about knowledge.
The power of stories.
And how it all connects to, our own struggles today.
Yeah. With information overload, with figuring out what's true.
Those timeless questions.
And Herod's work, it reminds us
that these questions
are about new.
They've been debated for centuries.
They're still shaping how we see the world.
And our place in it.
So, as we wrap up this episode, we encourage you, dear listeners, to keep exploring, to keep questioning.
And to keep telling your own stories.
Because knowledge is a journey.
Not a destination.
And we all have a role to play.
In shaping the narratives that will define our future.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another exploration into
the fascinating world of knowledge and ideas.